Hello everybody, welcome to another YouTube video. I am Robelle Autonomy, and today we're reacting to another Zenless Zone Zero character trailer. It is their character demo for Yidhari, the self-directed, starring myself. That's the name of the video, I guess. Yep, really excited to see more of this character, because if we're gonna be completely honest, completely real, even with the event context and even including the main story, she really didn't get that much time to shine. A lot of people don't really know what to feel about her character, but luckily we have these trailers to kind of give us an example of what we can kind of expect with her, seeing her interactions and such in the future. So, without further ado, let's hop right into it. As per usual, when it comes to my reaction videos, I do pause the video a lot because I break down the animation, the directing, and even just some animation techniques, and then even some lore bits. But after that, we'll be watching it all the way through. So let's hop right into this. Alright, let's take a look here.
Late night at the terminal.
She is indeed a story writer, so
Bringing uninvited guests.
interesting.
Passenger named
Alright, it's already completely fiction? Because the ethereal is outside of the hollow. Unless they're in the hollow, in which case I don't know how they didn't notice.
arrives. Hold on.
Yeah, this isn't it most definitely her story. Oh, she has big round glasses. It's actually really hard to see because they're frameless. Like, the glasses part is literally like not visible at all, but the frames are super duper visible. But I will have to maybe a different angle, it'll be easier to see here.
I guess.
No, a fan did inform me that in the teaser, her tentacles, octopus tentacles are apparently not like, they're not fully controlled by her. They're somewhat autonomous. Apparently most of the nervous system for octopus tentacles are inside the tentacle itself, so they're kind of autonomous. She just kind of gives them an order and those kind of work without her having to think about them. At least that's what I think. That's what I've been convinced thanks to the comments from the last video, so...
A bit too fast.
Dang, she deleted all of them from existence!
Let's try a different opening. Midnight. Fog silently creeps into the station. Ghosts
Alright, getting very descriptive.
emerge.
Good story writing.
Reality and fiction intertwine.
I'm sorry, 1 second. We're just gonna go back.
Reality and fiction.
You know why I'm going back. You know why. Why are they so bouncy? That's crazy. Oh yes, you can't see faces. At least not most faces. The main characters, Faithin, she can see their face, but most characters she cannot. I wonder, it stemmed from deep trauma, and I am curious as to how well she'll recover from this, or if she has recovered from it. Because again, they didn't really extrapolate from it too much in the game's main story. So I'm curious to see if this becomes a thing that gets brought up in the future. Gosh dang, the weight of the hammer, hang on. Yeah, there it is guys, my power play reaction, you're welcome. See, look, to increase impact, they have the hammer start back here, and in the next frame, it's all the way over here. Alright, you didn't see the in-betweens? Because it's moving so fast, the camera's frame rate couldn't catch it. At least that's the animation technique, right? They're mimicking a camera's frame rate. Without using motion blur. At least that's how they're going for it. Oh, now they're using motion blur, but it's more like blur from the impact. Also having the clash glow a bright blue to show her ice abilities while also kind of giving impact frames. They're not exactly impact frames like what we're used to with like the pencil sketch, but this is its own form of impact frame. Dang, alright, actually that was really good how fast she hits the camera. And see that again, so... When it comes to animation styles like this, where it's still 3D, but like, it looks very 2D. A lot of the quick movements register in your head a lot easier. That's why anime, they can fight way faster than you would see in live action. And when you try to make characters fight super duper fast in live action, a lot of the time your brain gets confused because stuff is happening too fast, and because it's so detailed, your brain doesn't have the ability to process what's happening. But here we have like just underneath, yeah, it's like under 20 frames. But this goes by so quickly, but you still know exactly what happened. She hit the camera with her hammer. But if you were to do the same thing with a live action, you would need a lot more frames, a little bit more time, and maybe an extra second or two for it to register properly. Brilliant work. Gosh dang it. Alright, 1 second. We're examining the physics. Not just for the sake of fanciness, but because I do find that Yidhari's, like, her physics are a little bit comical. They're definitely more than the other characters. I think maybe it's comparable to, say, Evelyn. But I think they pushed it to an extreme here. And the thing is, that is kind of how they would balance. Because she's not wearing a bra. It's, you know, as controversial as that is, her outfit is, it's very loose. It's just one layer of cloth. And it's like, you can say, oh, but she is, but she's not. Because in the shirt, the top is basically open. You can see she's not wearing anything. That's just kind of, I guess that's just her style. That's ridiculous. If like peer drops, guys. Alright, let's move on. I don't want to focus too much on that kind of stuff, but I do want to point it out because physics sims are actually pretty cool, despite it being used for extreme fanciness in this instance. Yeah, it's just how it is. You gotta accept it. It's part of Z. Anyways, looking at this, her hair is actually covering a lot of her face. And honestly, this look is like really, really unique. One thing that Zenless Zone Zero does that's really, really interesting is the way it shows stuff behind the hair. Because technically, hair is, to an extent, transparent, right? In real life, hair is a bunch of strands of hair, and you can see stuff behind it because you see between the thin strands. But in these anime games, these gacha games, they have to make it one big geometry, so they have to make it translucent to kind of mimic that effect. And here you can see it's really, really nice. The way that the Zenless Zone Zero devs decide when you can and cannot see the eyes, the way they transition between the two is really, really unique. You don't really see this in a lot of gachas. Or 3D animation in general, but here her eyes are completely occluded, you can't see them at all. But when she turns, they become slightly more visible. And then here, now they're fully visible. You can tell she's looking that way, because it would look weird if you couldn't see her eyes. Because while her entire pupil or on this side is completely covered, so it would just be the whites of her eyes that are visible. That would look weird. So they made it see-through. That's a very intentional thing they're doing. That's really, really cool. A lot of attention to detail, too. They're definitely squashing and stretching the face. Like, they're definitely modifying the 3D model to look good from this angle, because this is not how it would look from this angle. It would look a little bit different. They're trying to make it look better for the camera, even though it's not how the model actually works. Because anime models, they don't follow the regular... Like, you don't just make a 3D face with anime models. You have to... It's like that. There's a normalization. There's normal mapping. You have to figure out how to make the shading on the face skip certain aspects of the model so that it still looks like it's a 2D drawing. And I think ZZ still follows those rules pretty gracefully.
I am caught in its web.
And there's a lot for me to break down there. I'm sorry, it's just this stuff is so interesting to me. Okay, actually again, the weight of the hammer, they're doing a great job showing it. And don't stare at her moves too much here. We're focusing on the hammer. But if you look, right? When she lifts up, the hammer doesn't move that much. She has to lift her entire back is essentially... She's putting all of her weight into pulling the hammer back. Alright, and then once she has it above her, that's kind of when its center of gravity is, you know, a lot more manageable. And then when it comes back down, there's a lot of extra force. And you can see, it goes past the point where she would want it to stop, which is about here. It keeps going because it's heavy. So she just kind of lets it, she relaxes and lets it drop a little bit. Even here, the translation from that one cut to this one, you can see it's still continuing that momentum. But it goes down a little bit and now she's stopping it. She's using her strength, but like it goes past where she wants it to stop, so it comes back up. That's how you show weight. It's a heavy, it has to have a little bit of a follow through.
All that's left to do is flip through the same story. Time and time again.
Now this is sick. What the heck? So they have essentially all the different keyframes from the animation. But we're zooming out, and then it's like we're going through the timeline of how she animates. And then boom, seamless transition. In the 2D! Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Okay. Again, I'm gonna point this out. Every time they 2D animate a gacha character, I have to point this out, guys, alright? These gacha characters are a lot more complicated than your average 2D animation design, alright? A lot of animation designs, they try to simplify the characters so that they're easier to draw over and over again. Because when you make a 3D model, you can just pose it, right? And so it's a lot of setup. You have to make sure that the model is good. You have to make sure its puppetry is good. You have to make sure that it can do all these extra things. It's a lot of setup. But once that's done, you just pose the model here, there, and everywhere. And you can get each frame a lot faster. But when you draw them, and they're this detailed, it's a nightmare because look, imagine you have to draw this, and then the next frame you have to draw it all again. Like, a normal anime character, I mean, they maybe make it a sleeve, maybe they'd add some, you know, some seams in the sleeve, maybe they'll add a little bit of a pattern, but having this mechanical detail here with this extra, I don't even know what these are, but they're like buttons that are on her wrist here. Alright, that's an extra, that's all extra, so you have to keep drawing over and over again. So whenever these gacha games 2D animate a character, you gotta extra appreciate it because they extra detailed. It's a nightmare for the animators. Like again, alright? This is all they got. Okay. Actually, not quite. So, this hand, it's been redrawn. You can tell because when you shop between the two frames, the shading is, well, it's not that it's not consistent, it's that they're changing the shading so that it matches the movement, right? But also the line art, it's longer here, now it's shorter here. Alright, so they're redrawing the hand. The hand, it looks like, for in the face, they're just zooming. Yeah, they're not drawing it again, I don't think. No, they're not. They're just increasing its size. This is all in layers, by the way. And then the hair is drawn again and again. And then the body down here, it looks like it is most definitely just a flat image of them moving. But they're moving everything in the background. And the stuff in the background is less detailed. And then they blurred it to hide that it's not as detailed. But those are animated in the background as well. And a sea of people are trying to pour to the darkness. Now, we do know that Yidhari is a character with a lot of mental issues. And they've tackled that in-game. The event is literally her getting therapy. And it's kind of nice to see a character that, like, actually, you know, has that level of depth to them. The thing is, I don't think we've explored it enough. I really hope she gets more screen time. Okay, you know, Wellboy said she didn't have a bra. Never mind, I guess she does. But, clearly that bra is not... It's not covering enough. It's not providing support in the way it should be because it's all the way down there. And then she's constantly drowning. And the way that they're portraying this, I do think they're trying to portray this as a mental issue, actually. Because, like, right now, she's writing a book. She's writing a story, right? So, right now, she is sitting in the train station. She is safe and sound. And so she's writing the story about, like, fighting ethereals. And immediately her thought process evolved and they're having these struggles with people dragging her down. She can't see their faces. That's not really related to the story she was writing, I don't think. And now she's drowning? She is lost in her own head, struggling. Oh wait, who is that? Whoa. Who is the one that grabbed her? Oh, that's Belle. Alright, add another one to the Belle fans. Yeah, and finally, it's not all wise, guys. Sometimes it's Belle. Oh, never mind. Never mind, give the wise fans a W too. I think it's funny to me, like, I don't particularly care which character they portray in these trailers. I just find it funny that it's a thing that the fan base gets really hooked on. Like, oh no, Astra went on a date with Wise. I'm so upset. Oh no, Vivian is on a date with Belle. I'm so upset. It doesn't matter, guys. Because they're both the main character, and they're both faith in... Just enjoy it. If you want to be peak, ship yourself with the characters instead of Faithin. That's the way to do it. Anyway, moving on. Why did their eyes look like that? Oh wait, that's the Void Hunter eyes. Wait, what the heck? Okay, no, that's some key lore they're dropping right now. Why is Yidhari seeing them like? Why is Yidhari seeing them like this? No, wait, he's got a major lore drop. Okay. I'm really curious. Wait a minute. Okay, so before we continue, I'm just gonna lay this down. This might be future spoilers, but this is all prediction, okay? So, in my head, I have this feeling, and I feel like the devs are being pretty clear about this, so it's not really like a, it's not like a genius theory that no one would come up with. I feel like a lot of people kind of share this opinion, but I feel like the story of Zenless Zone Zero has happened already, and we failed the first time, which you can see when we make that contract with Steri. When we sign her terms of service, we see this flashback of the world essentially ending. And then later, and spoilers for the story, it is not for the new story, this is for like 1.6, I think, or 1.7. But later we see the Void Hunter eyes in the Faith in Siblings when Vivian gets corrupted and she's essentially a goner, she should be dead. But we essentially turn back her corruption, we undo it. And so, when you see that we had a vision of the world ending, I think the story happened and we failed, and the power that the Faith in Siblings have is to rewind things, to rewind time. And so, this is gonna connect to the Yidhari trailer, okay? Let me cook. But I think we have the power to rewind time, and so we've rewound time. We've met all these characters before, and a lot of them experience deja vu. They go, have we met before? Do I know you? A lot of them have said that, right? And so, Yidhari is a special case because she's been basically contaminated by miasma, which is a material of ether. It's ether energy that can withhold, or it can retain memory. It can withhold memories and past things within its structure. So part of me is wondering, because Yidhari has been corrupted before, is she experiencing these like visions of the past that have happened already with the Faith in Siblings? And so she feels a connection to them because she feels like she knows them already because she's seeing them in these visions. Alright, let's continue.
I'd accepted that I would sink into the abyss and become another shadow.
Like, why? Because we've never shown her in the Void Hunter eyes. It's a power we don't have full control over.
For the next train.
And it has yet to appear again in the story.
But those radiant eyes cut through the crowd, granting me a new beginning.
We gotta go back. Okay, I guess we're not gonna get any more lore. Thanks! Thanks, Oliverse! Surely 2.4, they give me answers, right? Anyways, I just want to point this out because now this model is like actually fantastic. Look at the expression, the calm and relaxed expression. So, I guess we're not in the train station anymore. That's probably why she was able to bounce back. She's in a much more calm, collected space, aka the coffee shop. Oh my goodness. Okay, ignoring the jiggle for 5 seconds, let's appreciate her face real quick. The expression, they added sparkles to her eyes here. She normally doesn't have those. Her eyes are pretty blank looking, but they're so detailed that you don't really realize. And even if we go back all the way over here. Alright, the sparkles are not in her eyes. I know her eyes are like, they're very squinted right now, you can't see much of them, but those sparkles just aren't there. And then boom, they spawn in here. Actually, let's take a look real closely at how they spawn in. Yeah, so the way Lipstick Noise ZZ is doing it, they grow in. So they start, and then they kind of grow in, and now they're visible. That's really, really cool. Okay, we gotta relax. It's funny because, like, I know ZZ constantly has, like, fan service and such. But, like, the game's story really isn't about that. And then the combat really isn't about that. It's mainly present in the marketing. So I find it really, really funny when you see other, like, people that aren't playing the game and they look at Zenless Zone Zero and they have this opinion that it's a gooner game. Which, like, here's the thing, alright? The fans can deny it all they want. Wait, the game has fan service in it? And I don't think there's a point in denying that we have fan service in our game, right? I think we should just say, yeah, we're a gooner game, but like, also the story is peak. We're gooner peak, guys. I feel like the community has to start saying that. We just gotta embrace it. Anyway, that's what I think. Also, I'm gonna point this out. It's pretty, she's stretching, right? And her her tentacles are stretching too, but like they're just kind of doing whatever. Like these ones are twisting. This one's wrapped around her leg, and we're gonna bring this back to how I said that for the most part, her tentacles are probably partially autonomous without without input from her brain, because that's how actual octopus tentacles are. Thank you, comment section, by the way. They said that in the teaser trailer, alright? That's why I need you guys to comment things. Anyways. It's interesting to see that it wraps around her leg commonly. In the teaser we saw that like it suction cupped to her face at one point, and it left a mark. It left a red mark. It was suction cupping too high, and she probably didn't have control over that. So I'm wondering if it'll leave marks on her leg too. Oh my gosh, they need to... And it's like, I can't even be like mad, because like she's not wearing a bra, guys. Like, the support is just this thing that's around her neck. That's literally how they would be bouncing around. Now, if we're gonna be realistic, alright, and this isn't like some like Gunnar fantasy, I'm just saying this is how it's gonna be. This is how it would work, alright? If we're being realistic, that button there would come undone really quickly. Unless it was like a really tight button, but then like that would also damage itself over time. That's how these clothes are. And then also, I'm pretty sure that they would just flop out. Like regardless of how she does up her shirt, the gap in the middle between the buttons is too large, and they would just flop out. Anyways, that's how, when you're an animator, you have to study these things. That's how it works.
I really hope.
Oh my goodness, wait, that was really cute. The cheek squish. Love it back, guys. The cheek squish. Oh my, that expression is adorable.
I really hope they'll like this story.
Okay, so I'm assuming the they she's referring to is Faith in. And I guess ultimately the story ended up being, right, she was writing about these ethereals that are attacking. And then it was all just probably visual metaphor, right? Like she's fighting the ethereals, she's writing about her inner struggles, and then she's drowning. And then Sathan is the one that saves her, so this story is probably for them.
Really hope.
An interesting demo. Definitely feel like we gotta watch it again without pausing. Alright, let's take a closer look at the music now. I milked 2 minutes into 20 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be doing my breakdown though.
Bringing uninvited guests. Soon after, the passenger named Disaster arrives.
The passenger named Disaster. I have to admit, this is a little cheesy.
I guess the story's moving a bit too fast. Let's try a different opening. Midnight. Fog silently creeps into the station. Ghosts from the past emerge.
The music is definitely very somber.
Reality and fiction intertwine.
It's very dreamlike, which matches her character. She's a character that feels like... It feels like she's in a dream constantly, even though she's in the real world. And again, a part of that stems from her inability to see faces.
Fate decided the finale long ago. I am caught in its web, powerless to escape.
Oh, wait, no, she's talking about fate and stuff. I think she... Also, to flip through the same story, I think she remembers, like, the past, like, my timeline theory, where it's like we failed and we rewound time. I think she remembers it, and she is like, well, that's just fate. Well, at least, even if she doesn't remember it, maybe she partially, like, feels it in her heart. To know is that, like, things are not gonna end up that good, and so she's just going through the story as she pleases. So, like, people are gonna look at this like, oh, it's a Gunnar trailer. I think it's actually, like, a heavy, like... This is foreshadowing, this entire trailer. Especially with this shot right here with the twins.
I'd accepted that I would sink into the abyss and become another shadow waiting for the next train. But those radiant eyes
That
cut through the
coffee
crowd,
cup, the
granting me
rendering
a
on it
new
is insane. Gosh dang, and seeing the film motion is ridiculous. Holy moly!
Oh, I really hope they'll like this story.
Alright guys, the amount of Gunnar slander I've been seeing, the slander for ZZZ that I've seen as of late, all because of the Yidhari clips on social media, guys. It's actually insane. But you know what? It's like the clips are there. We can't deny it. Anyways, okay, there's one thing I didn't go over when I paused it. We gotta go back to the coffee shop. I didn't look at the chat, but she was looking at.
Eyes cut through the crowd. Great.
Then we for what's next. How could a writer possibly beat an ethereal? The combat is so detailed. The better play it safe and call a cab this late at night.
Beginning.
The atmosphere is simple. I like this comment right here. Better play it safe and call a cab this late at night. Actually, facts. Alright, in all these stories, you see these heroes. They line up to fight the monsters and they get beat up. And I'm like, the answer is you just leave. You leave. You don't take part in the story anymore. Of course, that doesn't make for a good story, right? Maybe not for a good... Maybe it does make for a good story, but it doesn't make for an interesting, you know, combat or like encounter experience. But a lot of the time, a lot of these characters, they can just leave. No, I have to enter the hollow to save the day. No, you just go home. And then you don't die. It's that simple. Tell that to all these easy NPCs. But anyways, all the ones that die in the story, you gotta let them know. But anyways, I think that's it for the reaction, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This one was a bit of a long one because honestly, there was a lot to extrapolate from this one. There's a lot of techniques that I could point out. There's a lot of lore stuff going on. They even got me theory crafting on what the feature of Zenless Zone Zero story is gonna do. I definitely think that this demo, I feel like overall, it's not gonna be like super convincing for people that were on the fence about Yidhari. Like, I don't think it's gonna convince people to pull her. The people that are gonna pull Yidhari are people that already decided they're gonna pull Yidhari, you know what I mean? Anyone that was like, nah, I don't like her, this isn't gonna make them like her. But I do think, with how this demo is, I feel like she's a lot more important than you realize, especially her also being a proxy. So, I'm really hoping she continues to be in the story. She's not just here for this patch. I hope she's more prevalent later on. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully the rest of her screen time isn't just her hangout events, because I mean, that's only available for people that pull her, right? For me, I don't have the pulls for her. I use everything on Lucia. Now we're saving for Dialin, and Banyue, and Yisun Wang, and Zhao. And everybody, you know what I mean? And the Angels of Delusion, they're teasing those characters now. We might be fried, guys. I don't have the pace for everyone, but we'll wait and see. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, just let me know in the comments down below. Did you like her demo? Are you gonna be pulling Yidhari? What did you think of her character trailer and the lore implications that they may have suggested? Do you think her fanservice is too much? Is her outfit too skimpy? And are the physics too much? Or is it good enough? Do we need more physics? Let me know down below. Alright, if you enjoyed the reaction, hit that like button. Let me know you guys want more Zenless Zone Zero content and more breakdowns of this extent. I do break down all of the stuff I see live, or not live, but like in real time, alright? So I'm not combing over this frame by frame afterwards to create some edited video. I just do this as I see them. And so, if there's anything I missed, I would love it if you let me know down below. And if you watch this far, that means you enjoyed the content, so hit that subscribe button. Lets me know that, well, flipping more than 5% of you are subscribed, because again, only 5% of the flipping people that watch my videos, they're subscribed. The rest of you are strangers. You could stick around, I'm bringing you more content. So, hit that subscribe button, bell notification lets you know when I upload more videos. I'm going to be having Zenless Zone Zero, Dark Knight Abyss, alright, Arknights and Field. And also, I mean, if more people ask, would be alright. They also do Weathering Waves and Good Junior Packs, but I haven't watched this release for that in quite a while. My bad, sorry guys. And that's how it is. Anyway, with that one, hope you all had a good one. Remember, Nintendo Waves and I, so I will see you all next time. Bye!